November 9, 2023. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart on the NinjaTrader 8 platform. This is how I saw the charts today. There's only two pieces of economic data that came out, or two pieces of information that might have moved the market. The first was around 5:30, which is about right here where my cursor is. It was the unemployment claims. And then the second one on 11 o'clock Pacific Standard, which was Fed Chairman Powell speaks. He gave a little bit of a press conference kind of information. And as you can see, overall, it was kind of a two-legged sell-off, two-legged, I guess, downtrend. And within the second leg, there was a lot of little swings. I took a total of 5 trades today. And of the 5, I got 4 wins. One of the trades was a very bad entry. It was because I think I jumped the gun without actually waiting for the setup to confirm or to be a very clear setup. So it actually ends up being a no setup, no good reason trade. I'm going to go into the setups right now. This is what the pre-market high was and the pre-market low. So in the pre-market, when I first saw this, I was thinking we're obviously going to continue from yesterday's bullish rally off the bottom here. I drew this. It was kind of choppy, but I didn't negate the fact or neglect the possibility that this could have been just a range. I didn't think that I was going to just sell off like that. So this is the yellow channel that I first drew. On the open, prices start selling off. So I'm thinking, okay, clearly we're probably going to be in a range because it hasn't broken down below the pre-market lows. So I'm thinking all the while, probably range. There are second entries, but they don't set up very nicely. And prices do break out of this green channel, pushes up, tests the bottom. And here, this is actually where I take my first setup. It falls into what I think is a resistance right up here. And I saw this as a new low. The first entry short pulls back, second entry short. Now the second entry short is confirmed right here. This is a terrible signal bar though, and so I waited. I was looking for a higher low, actually a lower high to potentially go short because I was thinking on the top of the range. This one's an inside bar. This next candle kind of creates a double top here, but it does break below, and it breaks below and then rallies right back up. So I was thinking there's potentially a trap here. And so I actually entered one tick above. Now this is, in hindsight, kind of risky because it is near the potential resistance up here. I didn't really necessarily think we were in a range yet. And my range, what I did draw, was actually a little bit tighter. Didn't mean to do that. The range was actually where this midline was. And I thought it was potentially a fail breakout down here. And I saw this as after the break of this green down channel, there are 2 attempts to make a new low. So it's actually, it broke out and made one attempt down. It did make a new low, pulls up, makes a second definitive attempt down. So that's a second low. So I thought, okay, the downtrend may have played out, and maybe it's didn't mean to do that, and maybe it's on its way up, bouncing back up to the top. I didn't have this red channel drawn yet, so again, admittedly, it is a little bit riskier. It is first entry short, second entry short failure. This isn't the best signal bar to take failure off of. Ideally, they should have ticked one tick higher and closed bullish. Then you'd feel a little bit safer. But I did take the entry, and it is also not the best entry just because I needed it to tick one tick above this obvious resistance right here. And it did, so I was lucky in that regard. And I was, since this is my original trading range, which is the top here and the bottom where this midline was, I was thinking it's coming back from a fail breakout. It ended up working. I think this one's a not high probability and probably would not have worked most of the time. Price then continue moving, chops down, breaks back into the trading range, and now I'm just watching and waiting. No clean setup, falls into this channel. I did see this potentially as one big leg down, pull up, and I was looking for the second measured move all the way down here. When it stopped short, I was a little cautious, just watching. And it bounces around. It looks like it's fitting within this other trading range here. Technically, you have a new high here, first entry long, second entry long. It's a good signal bar for second entry long, but it's kind of in the middle of this range that I'm thinking this whole price action is within. So no setup. I don't really like it. Bounces around. Now it finally breaks through, but it breaks through not decisively, very slowly. And I also saw this potential as one leg down, pull back a second leg down. And it's just kind of holding on this double resistance. The first resistance is off this measured leg down, and the second one's off the second measured leg down, a little bit tinier. So I'm thinking we might be bottoming out, and there could be a potential rally back up to somewhere up here. Now, I did draw this as a trend line down here, but I didn't really firmly believe in it yet because I also tried to draw it as a channel down here, and I wasn't sure exactly where it was at the bottom. But I was keeping in mind there's a potential it could move all the way back to the top. Kind of chops around. It's just playing on the outside of this range at this point. Nothing I really like, and it kind of comes up, and now it actually hits the top now. But it moved in such a way that's very slow and gradual. So I'm not really sure if this is going to be a strong hold because this would be the third confirmation of this red channel down. Breaks through, so that kind of negates and throws out the whole idea that this is a potential channel, but I left it here just for historical reasons and also to see if later this comes into play. Price break out of this green channel, consolidates. I don't really think there's anything clean here. So first entry long, pull back, second entry long. This is where I take my second trade here, right here. This is a anxious emotional trade because it's a new high, first entry long, second entry long, breaks down. I am thinking this is going to test this high. But this did have a breakout, and I'm thinking it already had a second kind of matching symmetrical move to this side, and now it's going to recover and come back and test the highs. So I saw it as a first entry long, second entry long. I'm thinking as part of the second entry long going up to go long, this was a higher low. The problem is this isn't a confirmed higher low yet because you don't know if the next candle is going to break down and the higher low might be there, or if it continues up, but you don't really know yet. So I jumped in early. I entered one tick above this original signal bar and immediately got stopped out. Well, not immediately, but I got stopped out in this candle. And so this is what I would call a no setup, no good reason trade. So this definitely should have been skipped because there's nothing in this trade to confirm anything. So this is a foolish knee-jerk reaction. However, I do like this next setup that's coming. I see this as a new high, first entry long, second entry long. I reset the count because technically this is a new high, not higher than this one, but just a new localized high. The first entry long, pullback, second entry long. I also like the fact that there's a triple test. There is some kind of support here. EMA is flattening, so I'm not too concerned that it didn't really uh, break through decisively over the EMA. I just see it as flattening out, and I'm thinking I'm within a potential range. So I entered one tick above. Actually, I entered right at the highs, and then I was just going for one tick, not one tick, 1 point. It kind of moved up, and I was able to get my 1 point. I just wanted to make sure I got out before I hit the localized high here, because I wasn't sure if this is potential resistance here or if the resistance is actually up here. So just to be safe, I just quickly took the 1 point. Actually, it ended up being, I think I took 2 points because I think I saw enough room to confidently get at least 2 points. Plus the risk was a little bit lower because I had my stop below here. The prices continue moving up. So this is my third trade. Prices continue and it pulls back. And so I'm thinking I'm within this blue trading range. And so it creates a new high. It's the first entry long pullback, creates a second entry long. But I also counted as a new low here. First entry short, pullback, second entry short. Actually, no, I take that back. It was I remember doing the count from back here. So first entry short, pullback, second entry short, double bottom, breaks, creates a failure in the second entry short, and it was a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. And the way I saw this is there's a potential fail breakout situation, breakout pullback. So this could have been a failed breakout, but it came down, tried to go, continue downwards. It tried once, it failed. I saw it as a second attempt down and it failed. So I thought here there might be enough room to get a quick 1 point scalp. And it flashed up. It actually fills me, and I was actually quite lucky in my opinion, because this wasn't the cleanest setup. I am at the top of the range, so I'm buying at the highs when you should be thinking of buying at the lows. And the setup to buy, not buy at the low, I'm buying at the high, and the setup should be looking for shorting at the lows. But I was a little bit confused because it looked like there's a big giant range. So in cases like that, this trade probably should have been skipped, but I took it anyways, and I was able to get a profit off of it. But I will keep kind of notes for myself that this wasn't the best trade, and I should have just left it alone. There's probably more times than not, it would have failed. But I also saw this as a failed second entry long from new high, first entry long, second entry long, confirmed second entry long, then it fails right here. When prices continue moving down, it stays, and then it breaks through this blue trading range, and I think it's going down this yellow line now, this yellow trend channel, comes back up. It doesn't quite hit the other side, and then I remember seeing this price action here. This happened rather quickly, just getting very, very choppy, so I'm just glad I didn't try to take any trades off of that. It sold off, just watching. I don't have this purple line in play yet. I do have a potential trend line here, but I was playing with the idea that it could have been this purple one, could have been something like this, or it could have been, something completely different. I do see a second entry short here. It's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. This is what I would call an almost setup because it almost would have been perfect. I needed it to touch and be rejected by the EMA, and I also needed to close bearish. Now, more aggressive entry would have just to take this and believe that you're going to be right, but because you see this as a new low, it's the first breakout, making one attempt down, push up, and you would think it's going to make a second attempt down, but you don't know at this time if the up move has finished to start the down move yet. And by the time this formed, I felt it was too late. Ideally, I wanted this signal bar to be a little bit cleaner. Prices then continue moving down, completes what I see as a potential measured leg here, one leg down, and then I start a second leg down here. So it breaks and violates it further. And I'm thinking maybe there's going to be a bounce up here, but I didn't have this purple line drawn yet, so there's nothing other than this measured move to take a trade off of. And even then, I didn't see quite any entries. I did see a new low here. It's a first entry short, second entry short, second entry short failure, and it did end above the EMA. It's also coming from a completed measured move, and it triggered one tick. I mean, ideally, if this candle had moved one tick below this guy, then I know it's trapping all the shorts that went short and then blasted back up. But since it kind of moved one tick higher, I wasn't sure what I was looking at. So I wanted a higher low confirmation, feel confident going long, or I just need this entire setup to be above the EMA. I need the failed second entry short to be above the EMA, then I'd feel more confident. But then I do see my higher low show up. My higher low shows up right here, and it's confirming the failed second entry short right here. What I liked about this is a good signal bar. I was thinking that maybe there's some kind of resistance up here, but I was willing to take a risk that it's probably going to move back up now. So I entered one tick above, as you can see right here, and I know I was pushing it one tick above this triple resistance, but I was thinking there's probably enough there off also the bounce off the EMA, and I was searching and I was playing off the idea that this is a potential trend line, not a trend channel just yet, but at least there's some kind of support here. That gave me about 3 key entry points to take a trade off of. One was a higher low, second was the EMA, third was the bottom resistance, bottom support of this trend line. I took it and it looked like it would have worked really well, even if I had gone for more points, but I wasn't really willing to risk going too far above this potential triple resistance. And secondly, if I did make it through, I wasn't too ready to try to push it past here. But I was trading this without a runner, so I just wanted to just take the entire position off. Prices then continue moving, it has an overshoot, comes back, pushes through. It kind of looks like it's consolidating. It's having trouble breaking back into the pre-market range, and I just noticed that. Not just now, but I was noticing that. And I was thinking if this holds as a resistance, prices could be continuing down. At this point, I was thinking there's probably one big leg, push back, a second leg, and this purple trend channel was actually just a trend line. And I was thinking maybe there is something there, maybe there isn't, but don't look for it too hard yet. Price then continue moving. It breaks through this blue range and it kind of comes down. It kind of looks like it's in its own tinier range. So a new high here. It's a first entry long here, technically. Second entry long, and then the second entry long fails. Technically, so it's like a new high, first entry long, second entry long. You could say, the second entry long is about to fail right here. And it also could be a higher low. But it's also a new low here, first entry short, second entry short, and the second entry short looks like it's about to fail here too. So I didn't mark this yet, but I was keeping an eye on it. It technically fails at this point because it flashes up. but it was still within this tight trading range that I didn't really think there was any kind of good setup there yet. Looks like if you did try to take a trade, it would be just enough. Well, you have a little bit more than enough for a quick point, but I just didn't like how this looked a little consolidated, kind of stemmy on these guys. The prices continue moving down, falls into this green channel coming down, and then it goes into this trading range. Again, another consolidation area. No good trades, no good setups. It looks a little congested. Drops around, breaks through, and here, that's when I actually threw, extended this out, and I started looking. I was thinking maybe when it's touching here, touching here. So I only have two confirmations at the top, two confirmations at the bottom. This is quite a big rate, quite a big trading channel. So nothing really to take a trade off of yet. It kind of moves back up, and I was thinking if it's going to come back up to touch the top, bounces off the EMA, comes back down, flashes through, chops around, making new lows. I don't see any good clean setups. I do see a second entry short here because there's a triple bottom here. So a new low, pull back. Right here, it looks like it's about to create a second entry short. This is a good signal bar, but I didn't like the fact that it was above the EMA now. Ideally, this would have formed below the EMA, then I would have felt confident taking a trade. Breaks through, and you could say there was a triple test here. Comes back down. It confirms the purple line now. So I'm pretty confident I'm in a big downward channel now, but it has bearish bias. So I'm not sure it's ever going to make it back up to the top before the end of the day. Price then continues, starts sliding up. There are some second entries here, but they look a little bit tight, a little congested, so I'm just leaving it alone. Prices then continue moving. It falls into this very gradual sell-off with the EMA kind of cutting through all the price bars, which doesn't leave me with too much confidence. Then it just kind of moves all the way into the close. So that's kind of how I saw the charts today. I will admit there are a few trades in there that were a little riskier than usual, and definitely one I should have totally skipped. So hopefully that was helpful.